Okay, hey man, welcome to Small Group. We're glad you're here tonight. Before we get started, a few things for you. May 17th, which is coming up real close, all camp registration forms are due. And so all camp registration forms are due May 17th. You can pick that up at the registration table. May 24th, we're a big celebration. Sunday morning, JFA, 10 o'clock for all graduates. So graduates, make sure you're there, and we'd like all the other students to be there. It's going to be a great time. It'll be a lot of fun. And so, but anyways, let's get to the point where we're here tonight. Hey, have you ever been in a spot where you were just like, you were like undefeatable? Like you were just in the, they call it the zone, and like you were winning, man. It didn't matter what you're doing, you were just winning. And there was a time when I was a sophomore in high school, played basketball, and it was homecoming night. And man, I was in the zone. It didn't matter what I did. I was throwing up shots, and the shots were just dropping. And I remember even one bucket, even still today, I remember having that thought after I'd shot the shot and it actually went in. My thought was, dude, how is this happening? How am I just, it was just crazy. I was just in the zone, and that night we won the basketball game, and I ended up with 28 points, felt like a hero. It was just really cool, but I felt like, like there was something else helping me out, or like I just got everything right. It was just a wild night, but I was in the zone. There's this dude in the Bible, his name's Joshua, you find in the Old Testament, and he was in the zone, and there's things happening for him that were just unbelievable. I mean, he was winning the game that he was called to play, and winning it very successfully, and he was just like, man, this is easy, this is awesome, this is incredible. You can read about it, Joshua chapter 6, Joshua chapter 7, we're going to be talking about this the next, through the month of May, how he was just winning. Well, Joshua was called to lead these people, the Israelites, God's people, and God told Joshua, hey, listen, you are going to lead these people to the promised land, but you're going to have to face some battles. There's some things you're going to have to face, but I'm going to make sure that you win. And so Joshua was like, cool, let's do this thing, And so basically what happens, Joshua gets all the Israelites together, and they start going towards the promised land. They're not sure where they're going, they just know they're heading this direction. And they end up coming to this like river, this humongous river, and Joshua's like, how in the world am I going to get through this river? How am I going to get all these people through this river? And the Lord says, Joshua, I just want you to start walking. As you step foot into the river, the water's going to part, and you're going to be walking on dry land. And what do you know? Joshua gets through the river, everybody's dry, and Joshua, I'm sure thinking to himself, dude, I'm in the zone, and I'm winning this game. This is incredible. And so they come to the next kind of situation, Jericho, and a lot of you understand and know the story of Jericho, right? The Lord says, you're going to take Jericho, and Joshua's like, what? What are we going to do? What? And he says, I want you to do this thing, where you walk around the city and all this kind of stuff, and the walls are going to come down, and you're just going to win, Joshua. And he's like, all right, sounds crazy, Lord, but let's do it, But he also communicates to Joshua, listen, I want you to burn everything in the city, but I don't want you to take certain things. I want you to burn everything and take certain items and give them to the church, but everything else I want you to leave there. Don't touch, quote unquote, the devoted things. And so they go into Jericho and they march around this city. The walls fall and they go in and they destroy everything. They take this city for the Lord, and it's awesome. It's great. And they get done, and Joshua's like, man, another success. We're in the zone. This is awesome. This is incredible. And then there's the Battle of Ai. And Joshua sends a couple thousand guys to spy out Ai. And they come back and they're like, Joshua, we got this, man. This is easy. We've won 2 big battles already. This is going to be a piece of cake. So Joshua just sends a few men out there to Ai to destroy the people of Ai. And his men come back defeated. And they've lost the battle. And here Joshua's been in the zone. I mean, he is winning. And all of a sudden, hitting the wall, he loses the game. He completely loses the game, where there's this dude by the name of Achan. And Achan was a part of this warrior team, this Israelite team that went into Jericho. Well, Achan decided that he saw some things in the city that he wanted for himself. So he, stashed those things on his being and took off. Well, see, the Lord obviously knows what took place. Joshua doesn't know, but the Lord knows what takes place. And so Joshua, at the Battle of Ai, because they lose, he finds himself like crying out to God, what did we do wrong, God? What did we do wrong, God? What did we do wrong? And God tells Joshua, hey, get up and deal with the situation. He said, somebody in the camp, somebody has done wrong. Somebody has sinned. And because of Achan making a decision to take these things that God told him not to take, it stopped everything. Everything went on a dead stop. There was no more momentum. There was no more like we're winning the game. There was no more zone. Everything completely stopped because of wrong. And the thing about it is that Achan's wrong I mean, it destroyed everybody. Joshua didn't know what to do. I mean, men died, families were put to death. I mean, it literally stopped every bit of momentum, every winning the game move, everything, put it at a halt. Because what happened was when Achan disobeyed God, right, God removed himself from the Israelites, and so they no longer had this great covering, this awesome thing that was taking place, in their world and their life. And so the next month, we're going to discuss this wrong issue. We're going to discuss, what happened, what took place, who was responsible, who was affected, who was changed, whose lives were transformed. I mean, how did leadership deal with it? How do we deal with as Christians as we're, around people that do wrong? And how do we take charge and all these kind of things? I believe with all my heart that as Christians, God's called us to be leaders of the city. He's called us to be leaders of our schools. He's called us to be leaders of our homes. He's called us to be leaders of our community, our football teams, our basketball teams. And we need to respond. And God called Joshua to stand up and to deal with the issue. And he's calling us to stand up and deal with the issue. But we need to really discuss what this whole idea of wrong is. Have you ever been a place in life where things were going so well? I mean, momentum was happening. Life was just awesome. And then for some reason, there's this brick wall. You could never get around it. You weren't sure what was going on. And what I'd like to understand or even examine is maybe there's something in our life where God clearly communicated something to us, but something happened, something went wrong. Maybe not with us personally, but with a family member or a friend or somebody in our church, because we're all affected by this wrong situation, this sin situation. And so tonight we're going to just briefly discuss this idea of wrong, this idea of sin, or even continue to discuss the story of Joshua and Achan. And so tonight your small group leader has some questions that you're going to continue to look over and examine. And we hope to see junior high students. We hope to see you Wednesday night at 6:30. And high school students Sunday night at 6:30. Hey, have a great week. Have a great time. See ya.